You're on.
Thank you. Good morning. It's Friday, November 19th, Tuftonboro Board of Selectmen's meeting. Let's begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Do we have any public input?
Yeah, I'll introduce myself. Representative Brody DeShays. The redistricting looks like, based on the maps currently and what we're going to be voting on, Tuftonboro and Wolfboro will be in the same district. Therefore, I'm going to be running for re-election again in 2022. I'll be running as one of your two state representatives from this district. There'll also be a platorial, right? So there'll be a district on top of this district that will be Wolfboro, Tuftonboro, and Ossipee. And that will be by itself a seat. I don't know who's going to run for that at this time, but I know myself and Representative John McDonald from Wolfboro will be running for the district, the new Carroll County District 6, Wolfboro, Tuftonboro, and I stay involved and listen to what local officials have to say and what you guys are doing in your communities and everything. So, I'll try to come at least once a month to find out what your needs are and find out how I can help meet those needs and just see what's going on.
Great. Well, thank you. Welcome. All right.
There's no hiding anymore.
Right. Exactly.
How refreshing.
All right. Let's move on to review and approval of minutes. First is the minutes from our work session on the 5th.
I'll move approval of the minutes.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. And then we have a non-public session also on the 5th.
Seems accurate to me.
Okay.
I'd move approval of that non-public.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Monday, November 8th.
I'll move approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. So we'll move on to appointments. Chief, come on down. How are you?
Thank you. Yes, I printed them for everyone too.
So,
You don't have to waste yours.
As of today, we've had 201 fire calls, 254 EMS, and 90 service calls, special details 11, totaling 556. Gas furnace inspections 41, oil burner inspections 13, wood pellet stoves 8, and life safety 30 for 92. And as you can see, that we're slightly ahead of last year for the call totals at this time. Boat 2 went to Kimball and Doobies in Gray, Maine for its yearly service on 11/2. Came back on 11/9. As you can see, the oil was changed, fuel filter replacement, spark plugs were replaced and completed. It was found that the alternator was not functioning properly on that. That was replaced. They found 8 cracks on the bottom of the boat, and those were welded. 9 spots on the cage were found cracked and welded. Total was $1,245.61. Boat 1 will be taken out of service once the lake starts to freeze over. We try to keep it in as long as there's boats out there. Once we get the boat back to Central, we have some cleaning and repairs that need to be done on it before it's gone to Melbourne Marina for its service and storage for the winter. We try to keep it in Central Station for as long as we can. If there's no ice out there, but it's just too cold to keep it there, we can always flash it, probably within about 15 minutes if needed. But once the ice starts coming over, then we'll start using those two.
Airboat, yeah.
The two circulator pumps at the Central Station have been repaired or replaced. The first one, the circulator was part of the heating system. It was $2,968.62 for the repair and parts. Circulator 2 was part of the hot water recirculation system. The repair and replacement for that was $1,605.49. Work was done by E&E Systems of New Hampshire, who takes care of our furnaces and the other repairs. As you can see, for a building like that, the repairs can add up quickly, just for minor repairs of parts and pieces. I took part in the Public Health Emergency Preparedness Meeting. That's EPRCC, an abbreviation. That is the emergency preparedness for Carroll County. And that was by Zoom, by phone, as we do not have a camera set up at Central Station to do actual camera-wise.
Do you need one?
Not necessarily. It's fine just listening to them by phone as far as it goes. So, as we go further down through different things, if we find that it's necessary, then we look at that.
Yeah.
Well,
Put
you
it
know,
on training or.
again, if you're just talking about video conferencing, it's almost nothing to set a camera up on a computer. So,
I've been working with the Carroll County Sheriff's Dispatch, Ospey Mountain Electronics, Consolidated Communications, John Kenny of Kenny Communications, and other departments in the Ospey Valley Mutual Aid to get the repeater sites in our area up and running on the simulcast system. It has been a long process, but we currently have the system up and running. Current communications seem to be working well. There was some minor glitches when it first came online with the last repeaters. There was an issue with one of the E lines, and but it seems to be worked out. But obviously, it's going to be a learning process for all the departments that are involved. That we're actually hearing other departments now that we couldn't hear in the past. So we were walking all over each other as far as radio wise and things like that. Hope that it's going to clear things up. The Fire Rescue Department is hoping for a December 2021 delivery date for the new portables. Nothing has been set yet. As soon as I hear that, I'll let you know. An engine 2 has been put at Mirror Lake until the oil sensor is replaced on 11/19, which is today. The truck is still operational, but we are trying not to operate it on a daily basis unless needed for emergency. We don't want to run into a situation that we ran into with our engine 4 as far as have a catastrophic failure.
so when we were down at Union Wharf this morning, a piece of apparatus went by.
That was engine 2.
Okay.
It's headed to Central Station for, because it's easier to work on the apparatus.
Yeah.
Do you have anything further as far as?
The only thing I will mention is somebody mentioned to me that a couple of the flags, the night lighting
Okay.
is weak or non-existent.
Okay, at
So
Melvin?
Melvin and at Union Wharf, I mean at Mirror Lake.
Okay, yeah, there is no lighting for the Mirror Lake, as it's too small lines.
Yeah.
We can look at how to do that.
Yeah. But,
And
and
the one at Melvin is solar.
well, There must not be enough sun then.
Well,
So,
the batteries could have got,
yeah,
weak, whatever.
all right.
It was never really bright, but you could see that it was lit, and
Yeah.
we'll work on that.
Okay. Yeah, I thought didn't there used to be one on the corner of the building that shined up on
At
Melvin?
Melvin, it's on the pole itself.
I know
Yeah.
the solar one is, but I thought before that,
No, that's just the outside
okay.
light that's on the sensor. And we'll try to figure out the other.
Yeah. Any other questions for Chief?
I'm good.
And then
Thank you, Chief.
we're getting down towards the end
Yeah.
of the budget wise, and
Right.
things are, I haven't seen a current up to date.
Yeah, I don't think
Readout.
we don't have one today. For whatever reason. I would
Yeah.
think the next time we meet, which is, what, December
December, yeah.
1st.
So you didn't get this morning?
I did not.
December 6th.
6th.
Yeah.
And as far as
So she was supposed to put one in your packet as well.
All right, I'll just look at bills for a second. And then we'll search for mine.
As far as government buildings, you are all set. They don't need to come in to talk with you as far as that budget.
We did that budget, right?
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
unless there's something we missed in yours, so I think we're good.
And as far as budget committee,
I don't know about budget committee, so.
Yeah, I think we're all set, Chief.
Okay.
just wanted to make sure.
So, I was at the municipal conference, and one of the things that came up as we were going through various things was, I guess Gopher has some special money for emergency response that's available.
Okay.
And so I don't know if that's money that we can apply to the radios that we're buying.
For what I had seen, most of the stuff doesn't apply for what we would be
Okay.
doing,
All right.
so we hadn't really
Well,
looked
one of the
at
things
applying for it.
one of the things that was interesting to me is that the rules on that stuff they're changing like every day.
Okay.
I mean, the ARPA money that we got that was real restrictive,
Has changed.
the feds keep loosening that up.
Okay.
And so it probably wouldn't hurt to make a phone call
Okay.
with respect to go for emergency response money and,
Yeah, because
See
that
if
was
they're-
really restrictive to certain things.
well, it seems to me what's happening is, they're trying to push this money out. And so they got it out there and this structure is very restricted and it's not going anywhere. And it's like, how do we get people to use the money? So we're
Relaxing the requirements.
relaxing it, yeah. Did you have a?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I have the contact information for the lead consultant over at the Gopher Committee. If you want her contact, I can give it to you after.
So, it's worth reaching out to them. The worst that can happen is they say, yeah, no. But if the answer is yes, then that helps us out.
So you have about enough money to make payroll for the rest of the year.
Okay.
So don't be buying anything. No Christmas shopping for you.
No, nothing.
No, you're all done.
What was
I know it was the
Yeah.
vehicle repair.
the
that killed you.
$41,000?
Yeah.
$35,000 over budget on that.
Yeah,
All right.
all right,
All right, very good.
Thanks.
thank you.
I saw that Lakes Region Planning, Dave
Yeah.
Jeffers is coming in today. I do have a question for him in reference to our planning that are all hazards.
Hasn't, how many, yeah, we haven't had any word at all on
No,
that,
we
right?
haven't heard anything. We haven't heard anything back from them from their
Right.
emails.
Yeah, okay.
So if that's something that you could just put a bug in.
I will.
Yeah.
Perfect, thank you.
Morning, Chief.
Morning.
Come on up.
Did I
Hold on.
pass you on what you were
When?
about half an hour ago?
No. Usually in
I
the
was
pickup.
rushing to the meeting, as they say.
While I think about it, before we get started with the chiefs, I know you said you're not here forever this morning, but we do have need for a short non-public, so when you're getting close, we may have to stop everything else going on non-public, deal with that.
Well, if we can keep our people from chatter, plenty of time.
I can walk out now if you want.
Need the badge, please.
I'm not the gun.
No, okay, chief.
Here's my business card.
Huh?
I'll take the gun.
Thanks, Jack.
As you can see, our activity is still down in some areas and up in others. Part of it's because we're short-staffed still. No idea when we'll be back to fully staffed again. Somebody's out still. We did have this month a couple of incidents that I did do press release, I haven't sent them out yet. One of them was on the 7th. We had a disturbance call on Governor Wentworth Highway. Sandwich Police Department assisted at the scene. As a result of what was found, a woman was transported to Huggins Hospital for an evaluation. At the hospital, she had tried to flee and she attempted to take the firearm from the detective borough officer. He was able to retain the firearm and get her under control. We're still looking into that as to possible charges. So I can't say much more about that, but obviously the training and the security holster did its job. He was able to maintain control of the firearm in the hospital and be able to get her back under control. And then on the 13th, at about 8:07 in the morning, received a report of a male knocking on a door to a residence on Middle Road and exposing his genitals. He was not known, it was just a random house he went up to. He fled when confronted. The Wolfboro Police and Carroll County Sheriff's Office assisted checking the area. We found phenolmilion of Waltham, 50 of Waltham, Mass. And he was arrested, charged with indecent exposure. He was brought to the jail and released on bail. So we've had, and as you can see also, we've had a fair number of call-outs too this last month. So that's pretty much what's been going on.
And you've got some additional trainings to get done between now and the end of the year, correct?
Yes, we have to get, we will have more of the, well, we're scheduled to do Narcan training and we're scheduled to do, we have to do 4 hours of use of force training, which doesn't have to all be on use of force, but it's similar to that, along those lines. Then we also have to do, well, we also have some training that kind of, if you look at the training that was done, for example, de-escalation and conflict resolution. It hasn't kicked in yet, but it will kick in the next couple of years when they change the administrative rules. It hasn't gone through JLCAR yet, Joint Legislative Committee on Administrative Rules haven't changed the police standards and training requirements up to 24 hours a year. But when they do, there'll be 2 hours of de-escalation, 2 hours of ethics, and 2 hours of de-escalation, ethics, and anti-bias training. We've done some of that already, as you can see. That was through, we've done it through Durago. That's an online training program, and some of it now is offered through the academy too. So we should be completing it through the academy. Get double doses of all this stuff. So those are online. We may have to go down to the academy to do some of our use of force stuff. We'll see. It kind of depends on whether or not the person that's out is able to participate. I want to set up 2 trainings,
Right.
so
Okay.
that's, and obviously, as I told you, we have a significant amount of, because we were short during the summer, we didn't use much time, and some of us have a significant amount of time to use before the end of the year too. So, that's.
And have you been in contact with Phil at all
Phil,
about the police station?
I did, I told him we were looking for December 1st.
And his response?
We'll get working on it, I think was his response.
Uh,
That was about it. I did have a contact back from emergency management. What's her name? I want to say, it's Courtney Jordan is our representative, our field rep. And she did get back to me asking about, because it sounded like she wasn't, I was asking, we need this kind of budget numbers, as to whether or not there's going to be a emergency management grant money that could go towards the facility, and like sooner, not like next spring. And so she had started the process and she was asking for some information. I gotta find that and get that to her about she was gonna do a new historical and impact and all that stuff. I'm like, we just did this. So there's, so I gotta find that, and get that to her, so she doesn't have to repeat that process to.
Yeah, that would be good. It'd be good to know that no later than the end of January, so we can,
Yeah.
Factor that in on the warrant.
yeah,
Right.
put a warrant together.
Right. That's where we're at.
Okay.
All right.
Good enough.
Thank you,
Sit
Chief.
down safe, Chief.
Mr. Jeffers,
Yes,
welcome.
how are you?
I'd heard you were still around.
Yeah. Keeping busy.
That's good.
How are things around here?
Good.
Yeah, busy
I'll
enough.
make one of these.
Good.
Yeah.
I can email it to you if you want.
Okay.
Is that
We're
better?
working
Yeah.
hard to spend our money.
We do have a concern
Yeah,
with our hazard mitigation program update.
okay.
It's been a long time since we've heard anything from the commission, and the fire chief reports that his emails have gone unanswered. Maybe you could look into that for us.
Okay.
That would be wonderful. I appreciate it.
I'll pass that along and reach out to Susan.
Thank you.
Mm.
And I presume, assuming that it's just a need to keep the process going.
Yes.
Okay, good.
My guess is, and I'm not involved directly, but as with lots of things, when things are moving, but the people on the periphery don't hear anything, they don't know things are moving, if they're moving necessarily. So just,
I don't know what phase.
yeah. So just keep
There may
everybody
be
in
a
the loop.
right,
Yeah.
in the writing
Yeah,
process.
that's the chief's biggest concern.
Yeah.
He's heard nothing,
Yeah,
no response when he emails, so,
okay.
yeah, easy.
We have to.
Yep.
We'll hope.
Hopefully keep the emails working and all that.
Yep. All right, you're here to talk with us about our road system management system.
RSMS?
RSMS
Okay.
program.
Yes, so, 2018, we did assess the roads
Right.
and came out with a report with, and there were 3 options, and I believe that it was thumbs up to go with the option that added, was looking to add 10% to the roads budget each year in an effort to
Catch up.
catch up and maintain the PCI, the pavement condition index. And there was a schedule established through that. And y'all sent me, or the the work that has been done in the last few years. Oh, here's a package with.
This is the latest update.
No, it's several things, but it includes what was in there is the that first page shows a breakdown of each year, the proposed expenditures, and actually on the back side of that, the small summary is the overall summary in terms of proposed spending on an annual basis, and then what the PCI, the second line down, or third line, I guess, the middle line is what the you started with a PCI of 67, but then after repairs, if these repairs were done, the model indicated forecasting wise that basically go from about 70 PCI on a scale of 100 after 10 years, building up to 83. Higher the PCI, the better the quality of and this is the overall road network. And then this, and this was a year by year. Here are the recommended actions. And a lot of that is it works on the philosophy of keep the good good. There are some good roads. After a certain point, once the PCI gets to a certain level, the measures that you have to take are more in-depth and more expensive. And, they may be necessary. They may be road segments that are in very essential areas. But you have to recognize that if you're going to spend time and money on full depth reclamation, you're going to be paying much more per unit area. You may get a longer patch, longer lifespan out of it. And this is a model that has been developed in the cooperation of Department of Transportation, the various regional planning commissions, and UNH Technology Transfer, or T-Squared. And this was the report that included that proposed work plan, as well as the maps. This is a two-sided map. The first map indicates what the conditions were. When it says current, it means with the 2018 season, at the end of the 2018 season. And the blue and green are the higher PCI, higher quality, higher condition roads, and the yellow and red are the worst quality, the lower PCI. The model indicated on the flip side that in 5 years there would be some improvement in various road segments. And then we did have, that we do include in here, as to what in 10 years it was proposed to look like. So that's where that was. That said, this is, I was provided with work that had been done in 2018, and as I said, this map includes the work on Durgan Road. And then 2019, so the map includes the work done in 2018. The proposed work was for 2019, 2020, 2021, et cetera. And it looks like, based on what was sent to me, aside from Sawyer Road, which was not a town road, a paved town road, at the time of the inventory, and so was not included in this. It looks like work was done from the 2019, 2020, and 2021. The work was done on Dane Road, Brown Road, and North Line Road. And the work that was done was primarily reclamation work, reconstruction work, deep stuff.
Right.
Now, the way it was done, it sort of split, and so in terms of entering information in, I'm making some adjustments because the model I have to work with T-squared. This is sort of split in two.
And that system works with tenth of a mile segments, is that right? Or
Quarter mile.
Quarter mile segments.
For the most part.
Right.
Quarter mile or less. And there is reference in these to the various segments of road, and those segments are numbered on your map.
Mm-hmm.
So what we have based on what you sent and was provided, I highlighted on this sheet, this packet, the road segments where work has been done.
Mm-hmm.
The others, it doesn't appear that work has been done. And where there's not a lot of matchup. It doesn't look like, I'm curious, I guess, what's the intent of the town?
So I know early on, after we get the report, we took a serious look at doing chip seal work, talking with the vendor that does that work. All States, I think, is who does it, and looking at the condition of the roads that for which it was proposed, and some of those segments, based upon the condition of the segment and the recommended work, the board determined it didn't make sense to do it. In other words, my recollection is that chip seal is a great way to extend the life of a section of pavement that's in very good condition now. Once it starts to deteriorate, chip seal doesn't do much. The cracking and the drainage issues, it doesn't solve. So some of what was was looked at for chip, well, we didn't do any chip seal. And that was primarily because of the sections we were looking at,
Yeah,
just
Yeah.
in the opinion of our folks that
sure, the contractor
right.
says, and,
Now, crack seal work goes on every year, but it's part of the regular maintenance budget, and so it doesn't get captured. You know, when Jim gives you a list of the paving that we do, it's the paving. And he does do crack seal work every year on roads. I don't know if he maintains a list of where the crack seal work was done or not.
I don't know.
So,
I
anyway.
mean, here's the list.
Right,
And,
right.
it's probably easy enough to say, gee, we did some work on this section.
Yeah.
Well, I know he reviews the program. I mean, there are other elements involved.
Yeah,
So when we hire the paving company, they're not gonna do quarter mile paving. So we've accomplished getting Brown Road done, North Line Road done, Dame Road done. So if you look at your follow-on map, those are now blue.
Right.
For some reason, Canaan Valley Road is blue as well, and that hasn't been done, but that's.
is that on the current or the,
It's on the 2022 list. But the other thing that we've done, you got Shirley Way and Old Mill Run. Those are what we're classifying as neighborhood roads now. So we're creating two warrants, one for the through roads and one for the neighborhood roads. So we've budgeted
400 for the through roads and 100 for the neighborhood roads.
Right, so now we're up to $500,000 for our paving budget, which is right where you want us to be in 2028. So we're 6 years ahead of time here. I mean, it's not gonna follow your proposed work schedule, and we knew that to begin with.
Exactly, right.
However, financially, we are indeed taking your advice.
Yeah.
yeah,
So we should be, by 2028, we should be well ahead of schedule, actually.
So we-
Provided the selectmen at the time
Yeah,
keep
yeah,
working
that,
hard.
yeah, right. I can't answer for what's gonna happen then, but, yeah, so. From my perspective, the study's been very helpful in helping us identify
Okay.
things. We know, and I think you know, that the costing numbers,
yeah.
because they're state numbers, don't necessarily trickle down to what
I understand.
what works.
Yeah, actually, in the modeling, T-squared works with all states paving,
Yeah.
in terms of
Okay.
the pricing. Now, you may be able to get better deals, and we all know that the cost of pavement and
Right.
goes up and down.
Mhm.
And there may be options, you know, when we've done this with some communities, they've said, well, we get this material, you know, from here and this material from here. And, you know, and it's a model.
Yep.
Yeah, and the other model you created was the culvert study, and we were trying to plug the two together.
Okay.
We don't have a report on that in front of us, so I can't
No.
really, but I know that we've been working on that in conjunction with the paving.
Yeah,
And I've broken that repair budget into a line item, annual line item.
Doesn't make sense to pave over a bad culvert.
no, it doesn't.
So
And,
we're doing it together.
yeah, and we're, the culvert assessment, that actually has evolved some since we did it with you. The program has become more of an online tool, and I've been reaching out to T Squared to see what sort of access and perhaps presentability to make it a little bit easier for communities, especially those that we've worked with prior to 2020, to be able to make it a little more workable, usable, accessible to communities. It's not, in the end, the culvert work was an assessment. It's not a budgeting tool or specifically a prioritization tool, whereas this is
Right.
more of a forecasting tool in terms of your budget. All that said, I would suggest or recommend, if you haven't, as you are finalizing your hazard mitigation plan, look very carefully at what are the culverts that may need enlargement or replacement, because hazard mitigation funds, you can frequently get up to 80% payment from them, match, through that. But that's if they're identified in the hazard mitigation plan.
Right.
If they're not, I mean, that's the first question you're gonna ask. And then you're working, for that, you're then working with your
That's how we handle
County.
Tufton Road Bridge,
county rep.
Right.
or Neck Bridge.
Yeah.
In the hazard mitigation meetings that we've had, we have discussed a couple of areas which would require some culvert mitigation, so to
Good.
speak. And so we are aware of it. We weren't aware about the money end of it, that we might be able to be reimbursed
Oh, yeah.
for it, which is really good to know.
Yeah.
I'll pass that on to the chief.
Yep.
So, well, in some ways, this is, I mean, what you told me is good to know, good to hear. What next?
So, what I remember from when the study was done and the model was put together is that you've got the capability to go back in, which is what this shows, and do the updates and update the inventory, if you will, of the roads. Some of what I see on the 5-year through 2023 must include some projections for paving beyond where we're at today, right? In other words,
Well, what that includes is everything that was on here.
okay,
So, I mean, it includes work on Ledge Hill Road, it includes Lake Street, it includes, in 2020, High Street, Sodom Road. Those were, Ledge Hill Road, Sodom Road, Federal Corner, Canaan Road, Union Wharf, those were the priorities at the time. And, you know, it was stated, that was put forth. The work that has been done clearly needed to be done. It wasn't scheduled to be done until either it wasn't scheduled to either be done, in some cases, it wasn't scheduled to be done until later in the workload. I mean, there were some things that weren't scheduled to be done until 2022 or even 2027. And, you know, it took a different philosophy on some of them. Some of them, yes, it was going to be a full depth reclamation. In other cases, as you said, crack sealing was recommended, but through this, but then things have changed so that crack sealing's really not an option. Not something that you're going to go with. But, for example, there was some some chip sealing on Ledge Hill Road that was going to be done in 2019. That's reflected in the 5-year map. It's not what actually happened.
Right.
Chip sealing was recommended to happen on Sodom Road. Obviously, it didn't happen. New Road was supposed to get an overlay, 1.5-inch overlay. That's not happened yet. So
one of the things that we've found here in town is that the town roads that we redo always have issues, foundational issues. So an overlay, which is the way the state approaches roads, doesn't address that. Which is why when we've done paving work on roads, we tear them up and do base coat, do top coat. One of the things with the upper section of Ledge Hill that we're trying to deal with is there's a huge drainage issue up there. And we actually have it's $200,000 drainage improvement plan to go up there. And we may be able to use some of the federal money to get that done. Anyway, until we fix the drainage, to go back in and rework that road again, we're just going to end up with some of the same issues that we do now. Ledge Hill gets a lot of heavy traffic, both in volume and in weight. I mean, it's the main north-south thoroughfare in town. And
So
when it was last paved, it was an overlay on what was there, and you know, it hasn't been. It's been maybe 10 years, and it hasn't. It needs it. So, step one up there is we got to fix the drainage. We're in the process of getting a drainage design done for Tuftonboro Neck Road. That should be here next month, with anticipation that road again is going to need a total rebuild. Get the drainage done, and then do the rebuild on that as well. But you know, a lot of our roads that are in poor condition, crown, cracking, all that kind of stuff.
So how malleable is this spreadsheet? I mean, it would be a lot more useful, I think, to us if we this is pretty much just a printout of what you established in 2018.
Yep.
So we've done some of it. I mean, this coming year, provided the warrant article passes, half of what you've got down there for Shirley Way is going to happen. That's not scheduled on this until 2025. So we're jumping around. You know, like the Brown Road you had scheduled for 2023 for some crack sealing. We just paved that 2 years ago.
And I think he's crack sealing. The way our road agent approaches crack sealing is he starts with the best roads and works from there as far as he can get. So.
Well, where I was going was, I mean, I think if we could get a printout similar to this or a time frame, you know,
If we
that
could,
was working with what's actually happened in 2018 and plugging in what we are intending to do in 2022. I mean, I think it'd be a lot more informative. The map is more informative from my standpoint than this list. And we've also added two sections of road. We've
Right.
added
Farm Pond.
Farm Pond and Willand Road. So there's another.
yeah,
Wellland's not paved.
Yeah, it's unpaved, so it's.
There may be culvert work.
Right.
Yeah,
Farm Pond's brand new.
Is paved,
Yes.
yes.
as well as the Sawyer Road.
It was our section is.
Mhm.
Uh,
I don't think Sawyer's on the map either.
No, it's not, that was, it wasn't.
It was not paved at the time,
Right.
so it's on here, but it doesn't, it's just a little gray line over in the corner. So yeah, I guess I've,
Yeah, I mean, we're just kind of bouncing around.
we can start from what was here, and can we adjust it to get what's currently there in the process, and which would then, in theory, change the model and say, okay, so this is where the conditions are today. Now, going forward from there, here's the things that ought to be addressed.
Okay. Map with current conditions. And I think we can do that. Is part of what you're asking or going to be asking is for a new forecast? You know, clearly, there are things that some things have changed, you know.
Right.
And there's some missing information in terms of like where crack sealing has been done in some places, but it's not been, you know, I haven't been aware of it, so I couldn't include that, and basically just could get rid of, if I didn't know that information, I would just be deleting it from what's there, and no point in, if we're looking at then forecasting.
Right. So we can get you that information. We'll just have the road agent compile it. You know, when, if he's done some crack sealing, then it's just a matter of figuring out where and when. And then get
We're
that
not
over.
doing chip sealing at all, apparently.
Right.
So that can go right out of the paperwork entirely. It gets at least one sheet worth of printout gone.
And I'm going to be having a conversation with my counterpart or the person at T-Square that we work with who does the modeling, because quite frankly, we're sort of pushing the limits of what this, I don't know that T-Squared and DOT we're doing some things that they hadn't, I don't think, expected to do with this. And that's okay. They kind of depend on us to say, hey, this is what communities want out of this.
Right, if we're
Well,
utilizing
again,
it as a tool, then we just need to have it.
Right.
Right.
My recollection from when we started the process is the beauty of it is, once you get the inventory and the recommended maintenance program, as we do maintenance and input it into the model, it updates all this stuff so that it gives us a current picture of what's there. And because not everything is going to be done in the order that the model said to do it, basically when you do some of the changing, it gives us a new forecast going forward, based upon what we know today. Now, at some point, it seems to me that you need to actually have a tech out in the field going back through and, and whether it's at 5 years or 10 years or whatever, say, okay, so here's what it was, here's the things that were done, we adjusted the model based on that, so based upon all the information that we have, here's what the model says the roads ought to look like. Now let's go look at them and see how they compare. It's not going to be exact, but it will be a way to adjust going forward to say, okay, this is this is deteriorated more, this is deteriorated less than what was forecast, and things that the model doesn't have a good handle on is what the underlying structure of the road is, right? How well drained it is, how severe the weather is, how the traffic on the roads differs from what the assumption in the model is. All that stuff goes into the into the end result.
Yeah, and another factor about the model itself, you're right, you're correct on all marks there. One thing about and we can make adjustments in terms of the recommended actions. The thing about the model is what it does once you enter in some information and it presents us, the operator, the tech, it presents us with options. And so there's decisions to be made
Right.
for every segment. It may recommend, here are 3 or 4 or 6 options for you to choose from, and what year do you want to do that? So there's a decision to be made. There's a decision to be made about every step of the way through it. So certainly we can work on a map of current conditions and get that. We would, if we're going to be doing further modeling of where things go in the where things might be going in the future, that's going to take more information and definitely time on our end. And I'll need to work with our director in terms of where we find the funds to do that.
Well, and again, if this is a fee-for-service kind of thing, then we need to understand that.
Yeah.
So what we're trying to do is take something that was a snapshot and turn it into a living document.
Yeah.
That will be most helpful to everybody involved. The process that we use, as we kind of read the tea leaves in terms of where we're going to do our road rebuilding, is every year we take a ride around with the road agent, and of course he's most in touch with what's going on because he's out there every day, and so he gives us a show and tell on areas of concern to him, and we bring areas of concern to us based upon what we observe and what we hear from people saying,
Yeah.
and so we, from there, budget out how much is it going to cost to do this road, how much is it going to cost to do this road, which one has a higher priority based upon what we see and those sorts of things. So for 2022, where we're headed is $500,000 for road paving, but because the through roads get all the attention and some significant cost, we've decided that we're gonna, $100,000 out of that is gonna be neighborhood street
Right.
work. So the thought of this board is that going forward, there'll be two separate programs, one for the through streets and one for the neighborhood streets going forward. And we looked this year at a number of each of these and said, okay, this one ought to be on the program, this one ought to be on the program, this one ought to be on the program. And so we got some costing information together based upon, miles of street and that sort of thing. We have budget numbers we're working with, and based upon $100,000 in neighborhood paving, then this is what we can do in 2022. And so the next piece beyond that will be the next year and working on out. One of the things we do know is from a cost efficiency standpoint, working at paving longer stretches, once a machine's in place, has a significant benefit in overall cost, as opposed to, I'm gonna do a quarter mile here, and then I'm gonna go over to the other side of town and do a quarter mile. Mobilizing the equipment to get it to town has a cost. Mobilizing it from one area in town to another has a cost. So,
Okay.
we know from the paving contractors that if he can set that sucker up and he can run that all day, from start to finish without ever having to lift off, then that's the most cost-efficient way to do it. So sometimes when we're paving, we're tearing up a section of road that isn't as bad as some of the adjacent sections, only because if we were going to say, all right, well, we'll leave this and come back in 2 or 3 years and do it, we're losing the cost advantage. And you're tearing up segments. Some of the work we do is based upon more rapid deterioration. We did some work on Dayton Road 2 years ago based upon, it basically fell apart over winter on a section that seemed to be in pretty good shape. But that's the one we had to do because that was where the worst of it is. So this coming year, we're looking at, help me out, we're finishing North Line, right? And we're doing the hill on Canaan Valley, and we're also doing work on Federal Corner.
Right. As well as Shirley Way.
And then the neighborhood paving program, we're gonna start working up on Shirley Way. As I mentioned, we're in the process
And you
of.
mentioned Old Mill Lane.
So,
We drove over Old Mill. I don't know
yeah.
that we're gonna get.
So Pine Mill is the one that is sort of on the radar. Tupek is also on the radar. It's they're all getting of an age. Harvest Lane is not this year, but one of the ones.
Yep.
When we look at neighborhood streets, we got a handful in town, and some of them are
Yep.
pretty bad, some of them are not so bad, but until we start getting into them and fixing them, they're not gonna get better on their own.
Okay.
So if you could have the conversation with Jeff, I think you have an appreciation for kind of where we'd like to see things going.
Yep.
Going forward,
Yeah.
and let us know what.
And I think, and this sort of thing of where the priorities are, knowing more that, okay, the longer stretches, not moving, not trying to say, okay, we're gonna do a little in this part of town, a little in this, and
Right.
so that people see.
So in reworking the forecast, working with a different set of constraints can help give us a better tool to work with. as well.
Yep, and if information could come as to where any crack sealing has been done
Yep.
since 2019. And if you do have some numbers associated, even if they're preliminary numbers about where the work, what the costing is on what you're expecting to get done, that may help in the conversation with D Squared about ensuring that the numbers match up
Mhm.
best. He may be able to do some tweaking of numbers to better reflect what you're finding.
Okay,
Okay.
good.
A question about there are several types of full depth reclamation. I have put in categories. Do you know if it's like 3 inches of top coating that's done there, or not? Or is that something for Jim?
So we have that detail. I don't have it in my head.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
If that could be passed along, that
Sure.
would help. That would, again, help in improving that sort of thing.
All right.
All right. Anything else? No, that's
Good to go.
bring back to,
Have a nice Thanksgiving.
thank you, you too. Be safe.
Thanks.
you. Take care.
All right. Ready to work on some budgets?
Sure.
All right.
Can we do personnel administration first?
Yes.
Thanks, because we have our honorable state rep here.
Yeah. He's interested in that.
He will be, I hope.
Yeah.
Are we talking about pensions?
I am.
Yeah.
We had a 10% increase in the retirement fund cost.
Yeah.
And so the $23,983 that I saved on health insurance through hard work and diligent effort was squandered by the retirement fund.
Have a bill going in about that. We're gonna be starting to make more COLA increases from the state side for municipal and state employees.
I mean, I have a budget committee meeting next week. Chapter.
Are you meeting next week? Yeah.
And they're gonna carve me up a bit on this. So I wanna be able to carve somebody else up instead, you know what I mean?
That's fine. That's how it works in government. It works its way up.
So as long as we can hope for some sort of resolution or action by the state, that would be nice. The health insurance, as I mentioned, went down to $23,000, which is a good thing. And that and the unemployment, or the retirement fund, were the only major shifts. So the 2021 budget was $633,004. 22 budget is $635,555.
Yeah.
You want to move it, or you want to talk about it?
I don't know that there's anything to talk about other than what you mentioned.
Well, then I'll move personnel administration 4155 for $635,555.
All right, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
I'll abstain.
Why are you abstaining?
I'm looking at some of these rates and just shaking my head.
You should vote no then. I'd feel better. But
If you'll feel better, I will vote no.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Your feelings are very important to me.
I'm sure I'll be able to reciprocate.
No doubt.
So, well, I mean, quite honestly, if there are detailed issues that you want to get into, then this is the time to get into it and not just to let it roll.
I'm happy to let it roll.
Okay? All right.
All right, well, we're gonna do this annually.
No doubt.
So do you want to be more involved in that budget next year than you were this year? I know this is your first trip through. I'm happy to have a teammate.
We can discuss that.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah. It's not my phone, but thought it was mine.
I'm sorry.
It's all right. Just, I
All
got
right.
distracted.
All right, let's go to financial administration.
Okay.
So the request is up
$12,000.
$12,000. And so 8,000 of that is in computer and IT.
Right. And I don't understand the CIA 2022 was paid 2021. Is that reflected in the 31,000 expended to date? Do you know, Karen?
I do not know.
Is Kathy available?
Kathy back?
Yeah.
So, well, and it's great to say that next year was paid this year, but we gotta, if we're paying ahead, then we need to budget next year for what we're gonna pay for 2023, right? I mean, it's.
Yeah, if you're paying ahead, yeah. You know.
Well, it's open, yeah.
Well, what I don't wanna have is a situation where we say, oh, well, we're paying less because we already prepaid.
Right.
And then next year you get to the, yeah, well, now it's gotta go back up because we didn't prepay.
No, if you pay it in 2021, it's a 2021 expense.
Right.
So we're gonna have a 2022 expense.
Exactly.
And that's what we have to know what
Yep.
that is.
Yep.
Or should, would like to.
Morning, gentlemen.
Kathy, how are you?
Good. How about you?
So we have a question on computer software lease. There's a note in here that says CAI 2022 was paid November of 2021.
Yeah, what happened was they send them in due November 1st, so when it came in, we paid it.
Right.
Come to find out, she had paid one earlier in the year. So we called them about it, and they said, yes, that was 2022's bill, we want it done November 1st. But what happened is last year, she just held it off till January and paid it late. So this year,
So
she
what did
paid
she
it on
pay
time.
last year? Did she pay 2020? Or 2019? What did she pay last year?
She paid 2020 last year.
In January. So they
No,
wanted.
this January she paid 2021, and then I turned around and paid, no, I'm sorry, yes. And then I paid this one because it said it was due November.
Okay.
And she goes,
So we
oh,
have
you
to
paid
pay,
them
we have
twice.
to pay 2 months ahead of time for next year's work.
That's what they want, but she said, I'd just sit on it if I were you until 2022. 2023 for next year when they bring it in. So basically next year, it's out of it for this year. I took it right out of the budget for this year, but next year you'll have to put that 2,400 back in.
So
All
the
right. So,
31
So that line's gonna be over this year.
It's
it
already
is,
over.
yeah.
Right,
Right. So that's why you reduced it for next year, because,
because
but
we
it's not,
already paid
but
it.
it's not sustainable because
Right.
you're gonna pay
In
again
November.
next year, right?
In November of
I-
next
I'm-
year.
No, we won't pay next year. We'll pay January of 2023. That's why I'm not putting money in there this year, because we're not gonna pay it till January of 2023. It's up to you guys. She holds off until the next year, even if it's due. So it just ends up being late. She says she's never been shut off or anything because of it.
Well,
So whatever you guys wanna do.
I mean, if they invoice in November,
Mm-hmm.
and it's due in November, then that's when we ought to budget and pay it. And, you know, regardless of what they call the year, you know, some things are
Right.
billed in arrears, some are billed in advance, but the idea
I
that we would,
agree, yeah.
that we would continuously just pay late because we don't want to pay it.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, if we're gonna, so you're gonna book the payment that we just made in 2021.
It has been already
It's
for,
already been booked.
That's why we're at 31.5.
Yes.
Right, so we
Right.
need to put in the money for next November's
if
payment.
you're fine with paying it in November,
No, we
yes.
have to be, we
Yeah.
already did it.
I
Right.
agree, I
Right.
agree that it should
So
be
how
paid
much
in
is
November.
the, how much is?
2,400.
So we can add, so then that brings us back to,
30,256.
30,256.
Right.
Because I kept the one I did that, so I would know how much it is in case you guys do want to add it back.
So that'll put us $14,000 ahead of last year's budget. And that's one of the bigger items. The other big item is equipment lease and service.
mhm.
So that's up $2,400.
That's Lakes Region, correct?
No, I don't, well, no, I think that's, Lakes Region is computer
Hang on.
maintenance and IT support.
Right, that's
That's
also up.
That's up 8,000.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, and that was, I don't know if Cammy had told you when you guys signed the contract, Fire had added some stuff or had to add stuff for their fire station to meet all the requirements, and so that upped the price because you added more software. Or they added more software. Computer leases, is that what you're doing now?
No, you're doing
No.
computer maintenance and IT.
Right. So the line above that, equipment lease and service
Yeah.
expense.
That's where Time Warner comes out of it, Porter office, the leasing of the postage machine. That's what comes out of that.
Well, postage is in postage.
The
Right,
postages, but the leasing of the machine
Oh.
she has taken out of
So
this.
all of those went up 50%?
Well,
Or 40%?
cable had gone up. I did find an error in the cable when I was researching it. When they put the business account into town office, at the townhouse, they never took the residential one that we had there off, and we were paying double, so I called them up and had it canceled, so that
Why are we paying anything for cable?
you're paying internet from there.
I thought we had an agreement with the cable company. Doesn't that include internet access, or is it just television access?
I don't know
No.
what agreement you have.
With the cable company?
Spectrum, Time Warner?
Yeah.
so I don't think that the agreement, this is for free stuff. I think
Yeah.
that's just TV. That's the only thing that the
No, I thought,
contractors,
I'll look it up.
yeah.
Okay, because I don't know what you.
Well, in order for them to come in town and make all that money,
Mhm.
they had to give us a something,
Oh, okay.
so.
It wasn't cable because you've been paying cable.
Cable, I can understand, it's the internet part that I don't understand, because I thought we had that included. Now, hopefully they're not watching television.
But anyway, I found out that we were paying double up there, so I did shut it down and I asked for a refund and they would only go back 60 days. And it's been going on since like April or May. So,
Well, good
That-
catch, one way or the other, good catch.
Yeah,
thank you. I think it was just, from what I understood when I contacted Time Warner, residential doesn't talk to business. So when business hooked up, they were supposed to tell
Residential.
residential, but they don't talk to each other, so we would have had to call and had it canceled and all that, so that's what we did. That's kind of sad that they can't talk to each other, but That is how it works. Any other questions?
So maintenance and support went up because of the fire department wanting extra services, and equipment leases went up because of whatever, profit margins.
Well,
And the videotaping is going up $1,530.
are you staying with the videotaping yet? That went up, I don't know, I guess Joe spoke with
Paying Joe more money?
Diane. I didn't see any of that. Joe talked to Diane, and that's where that amount came from.
Joe wants more money?
No. Joe wants more money to cover extra meetings that the selectmen have all the time.
Okay. So you want the same money?
No, he's going up $5. Aren't you going up like $5, Joe?
Hang on. Okay, let me explain, because I didn't give a written detailed explanation.
No, you didn't, sir.
Okay.
You will next year.
I take 3 people in this town: selectmen, planning board, and budget committee. Budget committee is set in its ways. I know what's going on. The selectmen and the planning board are wild cards. I don't know when you people are going to meet or what's going to come up. Example being, we could have a seaport down in Melvin Village, and that's gonna raise all kinds of crap. I increased the budget $1,500 only to cover the extra meetings. My raise was $5 a session, that's all. And that's the explanation. Any questions?
Why are you doing it so cheap?
I'm a nice guy.
Thank you.
All right.
All right.
Oh, and while you have my voice, okay, your contract's up in 2022. Do something about it, because I've been complaining about it for years. Get somebody in here to talk about it, okay? Yes, and a list of offices and stuff are in the package that's in the file cabinet someplace, telling you what you may or may not get free.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for
Thanks.
listening.
Yep. All right. Anything else we want to pick apart on this one?
Appreciation event.
Yeah.
Do we pay Camp Belknap to do that?
No, I think that was,
Is this something different?
No, but we brought the mugs to give
Okay.
to people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine.
So if you want to, and I don't know if you're gonna do it at Belknap next year.
Oh, we
You
don't-
know
we
if
don't
they're
know
gonna, and you don't know if they're gonna offer
Hmm?
to,
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
you should give some kind of appreciation, seeing you got rid of all the stipends for
Yeah.
all the board people.
That's fine. I would just call it appreciation, or not event, but that's all right, it doesn't
yeah.
matter. Yep, good.
So we ready?
I'm ready.
I'm gonna move budget 4150 financial administration for $168,321.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
So you caught that they added 2,400?
Yes, I
You
did.
All right.
Start.
Thank you.
I gave it to the other two, so
Okay,
if you want
great.
to.
'Cause I don't have.
Thanks for having me today. Good
And
seeing you
they're
guys.
using
See you
computer
soon.
See you next
software lease.
Thank you. I didn't have a pen with me. You're good? How are we doing on personnel? Did you already go through that?
Already
Yeah.
voted on
We
that.
went through
Okay.
that.
Other highways and streets?
Yep.
All right.
And
Thank you.
That's up $2,444.
So, yeah, and this is what we spent this year. And that was
Oh, I'm
just,
sorry.
repairs on the Melvin Wharf.
Right.
So, and I'm not aware of any other special things for next year, so I'm gonna suggest we go with $5,000.
Yeah, I think we're gonna get into longer discussions about warrant articles, and most of whatever needs
Right.
to be there.
Right.
Do you want to make that a motion?
I'll move other highways and streets for, at a grand total of $5,000.
All set? All right, all set.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Perfect. I think we're done with the budgets. Yeah. All right.
That should be all of the budgets.
Yes.
I'm
Yes,
hoping.
that's when I say I think we're done. I think we're done.
You mean it?
Guy, I have your copy of the town and city here.
Oh, you do?
That's what it says.
Oh, well, I might have yours then.
You might.
Yep,
There you go.
for what it's worth.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't know they came addressed.
I guess they do.
Yep. All right.
Bill gets a special copy.
Yeah.
Right.
That's right.
I didn't know it was a big
All right.
thing.
Signature file. We got one here someplace, huh? All right. So the first item is the service agreement with our auditors, Roberts and Green. This is a three-signature document. In the amount of $11,400 for this year, $11,500 for next year, $11,600 for 2023. So this is the 3-year
Right.
agreement.
Pretty modest increases.
Yeah.
I'll move we sign the agreement with the auditors.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
What's today, 19th?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Next item is a supplemental property tax warrant for the tax collector.
And this is
This is,
in addition to the one that we signed. the other
yeah,
day.
yeah, this is for $2,504.
So the calculation was wrong.
Not sure what.
Or is it just one piece of property?
It's just one, it's one parcel, so no explanation as to why or,
Yeah. Was it?
oh, if, because it's, there's a house that was not on the assessment that should have been.
Okay. I'll make a motion to sign the tax assessment.
All right,
Second?
all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next, we have an intent to cut for 54-1-49.
I'll make a motion we sign the intent to cut.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We have an administrative abatement, in the amount of $11,625. And this is for the
Utility.
electric co-op based on our settlement agreement.
I'll make a motion we sign the abatement.
Second?
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, we have an application for a tax credit for veterans credit for Leonard Tremblay.
And we have all the documents ready.
And you got all the documentation here, right, Cammy?
Yes.
Hmm?
Jackie helped me.
Okay. Well, if she helped you, it must be right.
It was the first one I did.
Yeah.
She goes, just have them do da 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 da. And I'm like, okay.
Yep, all right.
I'll make a motion, we give the tax exemption to
All
the
right.
veteran.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have holiday schedules for 2022, the transfer station and the town offices. You guys had a chance to look these over?
I haven't.
I did. Did you wanna spending guy?
They
We
look,
don't need
they
to
look
sign it
fine.
today.
Yeah.
But, again, they look fine to me.
Yeah.
And we had already talked with Chris about the change that they wanted to do, so it's not a big deal. I would make a motion that we approve those holiday schedules today.
Okay.
The only question I had is, it looks as though Christmas is falling on
Saturday? No, next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Christmas is Sunday.
so that following Monday would be a holiday. I think. I just don't want to run into a
All right.
snag.
So, but the, all right, so the Christmas holiday that's on this draft schedule is for Friday, the 23rd,
Right.
not Monday, the 26th. So,
Right, we're a shopping culture. I
yeah,
got it.
yeah. So, somebody's idea of when we need to have that, and it makes no difference to me.
No, I think it's fine.
I also pulled up the state of New Hampshire website to see when they were closing,
Yeah,
and they're doing the Friday.
Yeah.
okay.
It makes sense.
So,
Banks,
actually,
federal,
yeah, actually, and you've taken Thursday and Friday, right?
because of the New Year's, something to do with New Year's. Kathy was trying to explain it to me that we get 12,
Right.
and that it has something to do with.
So I guess I come back to what Chip raised. This is Thursday and Friday before Christmas. Is that more desirable than taking Friday, which is the 23rd, and Monday, the day after Christmas?
And what are you doing about New Year's?
So, and again,
I'm going to withdraw my motion.
yeah, all right. So
So you want to do
I'm just asking.
Friday, oh,
Yeah, I'm too confused now.
We're not town employees, okay? And you know, we want a holiday schedule that works for the people that work for the town and also for people that use town services. It makes no difference to me. We're gonna do those two holidays, right? But does it make more sense to take the day, Friday, for the Christmas Eve, which is actually the day before Christmas Eve, and Monday for Christmas, which is the day after Christmas, as opposed to 2 days before Christmas Eve and nothing after? Just
Well, last
ask.
minute shopping time, I guess, if you have the 2 days before.
So,
Better for the economy, is that your position?
I
No.
don't know.
Playing with
No.
new toys.
yeah, that's right. The day after Christmas, you might want to play with the new toys. So, anyways, so I think let's deal with this our next meeting.
Okay.
All right, but I do ask that question because
Yeah, because Monday after New Year's, you're taking the holiday.
right.
okay.
It's in conflict, is my silly mind.
So here's what
Yeah,
happens
Monday,
if it's set up
holiday.
this way, is you take the 2 days before Christmas, Christmas Eve is Saturday, Christmas is Sunday, you work 5 days the whole week, and then you get the day after New Year's off as New Year's holiday, as opposed to moving it
instead of having 2 4-day work weeks.
Yeah,
Back
right.
to back, you get a 5-day
And a 3-day, yeah,
A 4-day. No, a 3-day.
Three.
yeah,
3-day
So-
and a 4-day, or 3-day and a 5-day.
so, all right.
Hey,
Well,
Yeah, 3 and 5. So you're working 8 days, but you're
Right.
putting it all
Yeah.
in one lump.
yeah,
let them think about that some more.
yeah,
Good catch, Bill.
we'll leave that, all right.
Okay.
You
Action
need a
items.
Okay.
What?
You need a non-public?
We do need a non-public.
Kathy needs to come back in and talk to you about a budget issue.
Oh, okay. Well,
Do-
let's do it right now.
Okay.
Quickly.
So while we're waiting for that, I will mention a couple of things, and I think I put these slides in. I asked for, did you give everybody this?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so I was at the Municipal Association Conference, and a couple of sessions had to do with the big federal largesse under the APRP, whatever it is, fund. So some things that I learned that I didn't know before is that one of the approved uses is stormwater for that money. And we have 2 drainage plants already designed and another one on the way now that is something that handles stormwater that might be a good place for us to target that money.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Another thing that I found out is that one of the things it's designed to do is to address revenue shortfalls due to the pandemic. And we've discussed before, our revenue didn't change because of the pandemic.
Right.
But believe it or not, the federal government has a formula that you can plug into that has certain assumptions about a growth rate that apparently is very rosy. So if we plug our numbers into that formula and it shows that we should have gotten 5% more than we did because of their formula, then it's an eligibility for this money. So there's some things there to look at, and as I mentioned earlier, they are loosening up some of the criteria as it relates to eligibility because they want everybody to spend this money. So
Yeah.
Get
something.
it back in the economy. What's up?
Yep. All right,
So-
Kathy.
I do have bills that are sitting to be paid, that are sitting to be paid, that should be paid in this year, but are 2022 bills. And so, do you want me on a regular basis as they come in to pay them? Because they're gonna put our budget over if I do that. Like, next Lexus, their contract date is 11/8/21, and
Yeah.
we were waiting until 2022. And Benefit Strategies, they dated us 11/18, says due date 12/3, and we were gonna wait till I
In
know.
my opinion, we ought to pay bills on time, and we ought to budget accordingly. If we didn't budget this year and we're gonna go over, how much are we talking about total?
Well, this is just these 3, so they're not too bad, 325, 250, and this one's 821.
So we need to look at
We need to
the,
start looking at the
okay, last year, how do we post that?
It was done in January.
No, benefit strategies wasn't,
Okay, I'll check.
I don't think.
Well, this is their fees, this 250 is only for their fees to renew, and then you get,
Yeah, but they would have done the same, there would have been a similar bill
Okay.
last year at this time.
Okay.
How is it posted?
okay,
So it may be that this is just, and maybe you're gonna need to talk to our auditors about it, what their expectation is. The other thing is we may have to open up a 2022 ledger account if we're gonna start doing it that way. If we're gonna push 2022's expenses into 2022's budget, then we need to open up a 2022,
I know what you're
Ledger.
saying, yeah.
Not long.
so. Yeah, I check with the auditors and look at the bills so that you're fully informed when you
Yeah.
call 'em. But I'm sure we had a bill just like that last year. We're
Oh,
ready
yeah.
to go. And if it passed muster, or as they used to say, passed the mustard
Yeah.
last year, then it will pass the mustard this year.
Right, and I know she said the auditors prefer 2022 bills paid in 2022, which is true.
Yeah.
But if it's gonna make us late, I mean, sometimes when you hire someone, you hire them in the middle of the year, so even though
Well,
it's
and the assumption
considered,
may have been.
it's like school, you're halfway,
If
you
your
know.
anniversary date on your insurance policy is
Right, you have to.
October,
Yeah,
you're paying it that year,
Right.
even though it's for the part of the following year.
right,
So, yeah, chat with the auditors.
okay.
You don't have to do anything with those until we get back here on the 1st, right?
Right.
So we,
Or
oh,
those-
yeah, yeah, I don't have to do
Fifth.
anything with them at all, I'm just saying that. One of them's due 12/3, which is the benefit strategies.
Right.
Because they say date 11/18, due date 12/3. So, but it's for January 2022, renewal fee for January of 2022. So, and we can, you're right, we can just open up a 2022.
Yeah, but before we do that, I think we need to ask the auditors
Yeah.
how it looks.
Yeah.
And we should have accommodated, if we were gonna, I guess
Yeah.
we have to have a longer discussion.
Yeah, that's fine, I just want to
Yeah.
know what you guys want done. Okay?
Thank you. All right.
Because if the same event occurred last year, then the number that we were considering for a budget number for this year's budget, 2021's budget,
Right.
would have reflected that.
Right.
Should have, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, you know, if we've always paid it late, then, and we're gonna go to paying it on time, then we're gonna have a little blip in the expenditure.
Right.
Anyway, we need to go into non-public for personnel,
Yeah, okay.
so,
91A, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
yeah.
All
Okay,
that.
thank you.